Right now, you are standing on nothing. You are floating in the air. You are in the conference room of AD Consulting, floating unsupported by any columns, by a cantilever that's 7 meters away from the spot you are at. This is made possible by my leveraging on the technology that the Zeitgeist has provided. Therefore, the approach to neo-heritage architecture is not a simplistic approach to harking back to the forms and the spaces and the materials and the technology of the past. Because mud would not have made you possible to stand there looking at me right now. Concrete, the combination of cement and steel, makes it possible for this conference room to float and act as a porte cochere as you enter into this studio. There's a lot of talk about mud, a lot of romanticism, especially in the West, about mud. But were our ancestors in love with mud? No, they were not. In Greater Zimbabwe and in Surami in Sokoto, they built in stone. They built with what was most fit, optimal, and available lowest carbon footprint. Ancient Kano, beautiful city built in mud. In 1851, there were 30,000 inhabitants in ancient Kano. By 2035, the city of Kano is projected to have 24.4 million inhabitants. To attempt to house that urban population in buildings made with mud will create such a seismic shift in the geomorphology of the region that it will destroy the ecosystem. Besides, mud is not a renewable resource. It takes 200 years to produce 1 cubic centimeter of mud. Mud is not a renewable resource. Perhaps we should think deeper and actually step into the shoes of our ancestors. Why did they use mud? Mud was part of an ecosystem of found materials and a secular economy that they employed. So in ancient Kano, for instance, the bricks were made of mud and shaped into tubali bricks. The mortar came from the same soil. And then the waterproof cement came from lasso, which was a byproduct of the indigo dyeing pits. And the whole of Kano was full of indigo dyeing pits. It was one of the hugest commercial activities in Kano. And lasso, the waterproof cement, was just a waste product. The plaster was a byproduct of dadawa, which is locust beans, which was used for cooking. Further waterproofing came from the grease, which was a byproduct of the hides and skins industry. In one word, their building materials came from the secular economy. Found materials with next to zero carbon footprint, which also went back to the earth. Their thinking is what we should enter into, is what we should replicate, not the forms and the materials that they decided to choose, but the thinking process, the heritage ideation that informed the choice of the materials. So perhaps in 2023, we should be thinking of what to do with the problem of ubiquitous plastic waste. Perhaps plastic is what we should be thinking about, recycling plastic and putting it to good use in building materials.